If your team is still chasing managers through email and Slack for approvals on purchase orders, time-off requests, or vendor invoices, you are losing thousands of dollars every month to administrative delays. I am going to show you how businesses use AI automation to eliminate approval bottlenecks and cut processing time by 70%. Most small businesses handle approvals the same way they did 10 years ago. An employee submits a request through email. A manager reads it when they have time. They forward it to someone else for a second opinion. That person is in meetings all day. The request sits in an inbox for 48 hours. Someone finally approves it, but the original requester does not get notified. 3 days later, they send a follow-up email asking about the status. This pattern repeats dozens of times every week across purchasing, hiring, expense reports, contract reviews, and vendor payments. A small business with 15 employees typically processes 200 to 300 approval requests every month. If each request takes an average of 3 days to complete because of email delays and unclear routing, you are looking at 15 to 20 hours of wasted administrative time each week. That is 1,000 hours per year spent on approval management instead of revenue-generating work. The cost goes beyond time. Delayed approvals mean missed vendor discounts, late payment fees, frustrated employees waiting for expense reimbursements, and slow response times to customer requests that need manager authorization. When your operations manager has to manually track which purchase orders are stuck waiting for approval, you are paying someone to do work that should not exist. AI automation replaces manual approval routing with intelligent systems that understand your business rules and move requests through the right sequence automatically. Here is what happens when you automate approval workflows. First, the system captures the initial request, whether it comes from an email, a form submission, or a direct integration with your accounting or HR software. Second, AI reads the request and extracts key information like the dollar amount, the category, the urgency level, and the department involved. Third, the automation checks your approval rules. If a purchase order is under $500, it routes to a department manager. If it is over $5,000, it requires both the department manager and the CFO. If it involves a new vendor, it adds the operations manager to the approval chain. Fourth, the system sends notifications to the right approvers in the correct sequence, sets deadline reminders, and escalates to backup approvers if someone does not respond within 24 hours. Fifth, once all required approvals are collected, the system automatically updates your records, notifies the original requester, and triggers the next step, whether that is issuing a purchase order, processing a payment, or updating an HR system. The entire process runs without anyone manually forwarding emails or checking spreadsheets to see who approved what. A regional property management company was processing 60 to 80 purchase orders every month for maintenance supplies, contractor services, and building upgrades across 12 properties. Their old process required property managers to email purchase requests to the operations director. The operations director reviewed them and forwarded anything over $1,000 to the owner for final approval. Small requests sat in email for days. Large requests often required multiple back-and-forth emails to clarify details. The operations director spent 6 to 8 hours every week just managing the approval queue. They implemented an AI approval automation connected to their email and accounting system. Now, when a property manager needs to order supplies, they fill out a simple form that asks for vendor name, item description, cost, property location, and urgency level. The AI reads the submission and instantly routes it based on pre-configured rules. Requests under $500 go directly to the operations director. Requests between $500 and $2,000 require both the operations director and the accounting manager. Anything over $2,000 adds the owner to the approval chain. Each approver receives a notification with all relevant details and a one-click approve or reject option. If someone does not respond within 24 hours, the system sends a reminder. If they are out of office, it automatically escalates to a designated backup approver. Once approved, the system generates a purchase order number, updates the accounting software, and emails the vendor with authorization to proceed. The operations director now spends less than 1 hour per week on purchase order management. Average approval time dropped from 4 days to 6 hours. The company saves approximately $25,000 annually in reduced administrative labor and fewer missed early payment discounts from vendors. A consulting firm with 23 employees was struggling with expense report processing. Employees submitted expenses through email attachments. The office manager manually reviewed each report, checked it against company policy, and forwarded it to department heads for approval. Department heads often missed the emails or forgot to respond. Employees frequently had to wait 2 to 3 weeks for reimbursement. The office manager spent 12 hours every month tracking down approvals and following up on delayed reports. They automated the expense approval workflow using AI. Employees now submit expenses through a form that accepts receipt photos. The AI extracts data from receipts using optical character recognition, automatically categorizing expenses as travel, meals, supplies, or client entertainment. The system checks each expense against company policies. Meals over $50 require manager approval plus a business justification. Travel expenses require advance approval confirmation. Office supplies under $100 are auto-approved. For items requiring approval, the AI routes them to the correct department manager with all extracted receipt data and policy notes. Managers approve or reject with one click from their phone. If an expense is rejected, the employee receives an automated message explaining which policy rule was violated. Once approved, the system forwards the batch to accounting for payment processing and updates the employee with an expected reimbursement date. Average reimbursement time dropped from 18 days to 4 days. The office manager now spends 2 hours per month on expense management instead of 12. Employee satisfaction with the reimbursement process increased significantly. The firm saves approximately $15,000 per year in administrative time. Businesses that automate multi-step approval workflows typically see 60 to 75% reduction in approval processing time. Administrative staff spend 70% less time managing approval queues, following up on delayed requests, and tracking approval status manually. Error rates drop because AI applies approval rules consistently, without forgetting steps or skipping required approvers. Compliance improves because every approval is logged with timestamps, approver names, and decision notes, creating a complete audit trail. Employee satisfaction increases when people get faster responses on time-off requests, expense reimbursements, and purchase authorizations. Cash flow improves when invoice approval move quickly enough to capture early payment discounts. For a small business processing 300 approvals per month, automation typically saves $20,000 to $35,000 per year in reduced administrative overhead. More importantly, your managers and administrative staff can focus on work that actually grows the business instead of chasing signatures. Multi-step approval workflows create bottlenecks in every small business. AI automation eliminates those bottlenecks by routing requests intelligently, enforcing approval rules automatically, and keeping everyone informed without manual follow-up. You do not need expensive enterprise software or a technical team to implement these systems. Most small businesses start by automating one high-volume workflow like purchase orders or expense reports, prove the time savings, and then expand to other approval processes. The businesses that automate approvals this year will operate faster, cheaper, and more efficiently than competitors still managing everything through email. If you want to learn more about how small businesses use AI automation to reduce costs and save time, Subscribe to this channel for practical examples every week.